Hey, this is Mike from the podcast tt.tko and tt.tko.com. I'm doing another thing of 5 and 5. This week's episode is 5 movies you should have seen as a kid. They don't really hold up now as an adult if you hadn't seen them as a kid and you don't have that nostalgia build up. But if you saw them as a kid, they're probably still pretty awesome. I need to jump straight into this. First one, in no particular order, is Three Ninjas. Ninjas times 3, boom, that means awesome. Three main characters: Rocky, who's the older brother. He loves Emily. That is sung throughout the song, that Rocky loves Emily. There is Tum Tum, who's the little brother. He's kind of short, kind of fat, eats a lot of candy, Twizzlers, jelly beans, that's his thing. Then there is probably the coolest one of them all, Colt. He was just a badass, more aggressive than the others, and just watch yourself. There's some crazy 2-on-2 basketball in this movie. They spot these kids 9 points and come back and beat them 10-9. Make it, take it. It's just ridiculous. At one point, they throw an old lady who's their babysitter in the closet. Well, they don't do it. The burglars do, who try to kidnap them. But then there's pizza in the movie. They play a practical joke on these burglars. They put X-Lax in their root beer or whatever, and they drink it. They have to get out diarrhea, and that's always funny when you're a kid. They have a crazy grandpa who, of course, teaches them their ninja skills. Did I mention ninjas? Because that's what makes ninjas awesome, is more ninjas. Moving on to the next one, which you knew was going to be on this list, and that is Goonies. Yes, the movie was produced by Steven Spielberg, but if that is not enough for you, let me go through a list of pirates, which means there's a treasure hunt. Oh, by the way, there's some bank robbers in there. There's gold. There's Asians with gadgets. And there's a really strong disfigured guy. There's an alternate ending with an octopus that fights people. Yeah. Corey Feldman is forced to walk the plank. That's pretty sweet. There's a fat kid whose nickname is Chunk, and he is forced to embarrass himself by doing the truffle shuffle. There's a character named One Eyed Willie. Hello, that's funny. Then there is a piano of death, and there's an Asian kid with the same gadgets, also has to yell $50 bill, $50 bill, and that's always a little humorous. And there's also talk of them making a sequel to this like 25 years later. Yeah, suck. Next movie, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2: Secret of the Ooze. Yes, the title has ninja and ooze in it, which you know means awesome. Four turtles, which is four ninjas, which makes it even more awesome than three ninjas. They fight the Foot Clan again, but the Foot Clan's getting their butt whooped, so they look at these like mutant dandelions and know that they can turn other things into mutant stuff, which means they get this like baby turtle and a baby wolf, and that becomes Taka and Razor, these big badass things that still have the mind of a baby. April O'Neil's in it. She's pretty hot. Hey, there's more pizza in this. They have a sweet hideout in a subway. Then Super Shredder ends up showing up, and you know how they like really get an advantage over him? They plug a keytar into this giant wall of amps, and they use the sound waves to knock him outside. A keytar! That's just badass. Vanilla Ice is in it. He's singing "Go Ninja, Go Ninja, Go." And then this kid Kano, Ernie Reyes Jr., not only in this movie, also in Surf Ninjas, which brings me to the next movie, Surf Ninjas. Hey, not as many ninjas, so not as badass as Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, but there is a dude with an eye patch, which is like kind of like combining a pirate and a ninja, which is pretty sweet. If you whatever, these kids are actually secret princes who have to go overtake their kingdom. You know, the guy who took over. You know, when they were kids. So that's a little interesting. Um, the kid has a magic Game Gear. When you combine video games and like ass beating in real life, that's a win. That's just a win. The late great Leslie Nielsen is the villain. The main kid is betrothed to a hottie, and then they have to like carve up surfboards. Well, they carve up trees to form surfboards. Of course, like within like a couple of hours, so they can start their assault. And then Rob Schneider's in it. Yeah. Moving on to the next movie, which is Flight of the Navigator. It's a Disney movie which has aliens. There's alien abduction. This kid comes back, and it's like 8 years later, but he's still the same age. So he like sees his family, and they're like, "Oh, we thought you were dead." Blah blah blah. There's a badass spaceship. NASA is like the bad guy in this whole thing, which is kind of funny to me. They try to like kidnap the kid and hold him for all he knows or whatever. There's a young Sarah Jessica Parker before all the sex and the city. The kid has a head full of maps. If you're really into maps, that's kind of neat. There's more aliens. The kid actually keeps one as a pet. There is brotherly love at the end of this movie, which is the way you should end any movie. And I am ending this 5 and 5. If you like what you hear, guys, check us out at tt.tko.com.